Hey everybody, Christopher Moonlight here. Happy Friday. At least I hope I'm going to be uploading this on Friday. So, AI did not kill Hollywood. Hollywood killed Hollywood. And I am going to elaborate on that. I've been watching a lot of different social media videos about the fate of Hollywood. Is Hollywood truly dead? I, a few years ago, made a video called Hollywood is Dead and Movies as You Know Them Are No More. And even though I wasn't 100% right about everything that was a prediction there, I think I was on the right track. I do believe that movies are changing. Obviously, box office is down by a lot, and sometimes for movies that are good. I'm also going to address some of the arguments about that I've been seeing on different social media, including different YouTubers. Some of this comes from discussions I've had with other YouTubers, others just observation. But I really wanted to start off by saying or asking the question, what is Hollywood? Or answering that question. And Hollywood, just like any other business, corporation, or economy, is essentially people. Markets do not move without people being incentivized to make money, sell goods, offer services. That is just what it is. Without, you can say it's buildings, it's computers, none of those things matter. We've seen that buildings are less relevant because there's a lot of people working from home, or a lot of companies who are allowing people to work from home, or at least hybridize that. It's all about people. People ultimately make things move along, and that includes people using AI. At the moment, AI won't do anything unless it's prompted to. And we know that there's enough margin for error with AI that AI still needs people to take whatever it produces and curate it, fact check it, alter it, use it as elements. And that's all it's going to be for a while. As much as people like to predict that soon we'll be able to just type in a bunch of prompts and say, give me a movie with this starring these people, I don't think that's going to work out quite the way that people are predicting that it will, for several reasons. I'm not saying that at some point there won't be an AI that can or can't do that. There may well be, but I think like anything else, it's going to have a certain feel to it that people are going to either accept or reject, or if they do accept it, they're probably going to get tired of it and seek something else, which is part of what Hollywood is experiencing at the moment. Hollywood, for a while, was really seen as the only game in town when it came to entertainment. Music and Hollywood were tied together. There's been theater, but theater is not huge. Oddly enough, theater seems to be becoming more popular because people are seeking out different things. There's going to be AI music. There's going to be AI generated movies at some point, but people are still going to want that live experience. They're still going to want that performance. So anyway, I don't want to get too far off track. I want to get back to Hollywood and the entertainment industry at large being people. And as a result, unfortunately, it is a lot of those people who killed their own industry. So I want to start off with kind of just the idea of supply and demand. If there is a need for a supply or a need for someone who can provide a specialized service, then the people that can provide that can charge a premium based on how much of that good or service is available. The easy example that I've heard essentially is if you are in the desert and you have a water bottle that has 1/4 amount of water in it, you're going to want to hang on to that water. But if you live by a lake or a reservoir and you own 100 cases of water, that water isn't going to be as valuable to anybody because there's not as much of a need for it. But in the desert, that 1/4 amount of water becomes very valuable. You want to conserve it. If somebody else is interested in taking it from you, you're going to work harder to defend it. If they want to incentivize you to sell it to them, they have to offer something that can be more valuable than that water, because in the desert, $1 million might not incentivize you to drink that water if you don't know the next time you're going to come across some water or get to a place where there is water. And that works with anything else. Part of the problem that people in Hollywood are having trouble reconciling is that there is a glut of people who want to be a part of this industry, and their skills aren't as specialized as they used to be. This is becoming more apparent in things like animation. There are a lot of people who trained to be animators, who wanted to be animators, and who wanted to make a living being an animator. But the fact of the matter is that after a glut of animation, a lot of it subpar, the studios lost a lot of money on animation. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't fans of animation. If there weren't, I wouldn't be creating my own animated series / pilot movie right now, Escape from Planet Omega 12. But I'll get to that. I'll get to that part of it. The fact of the matter is that, sound people, director of photography, people who score films, after a while of, all these hopefuls coming into Hollywood, let's say that there's 1,000 hopefuls for every one job. And the studios have their pick of who is the best person for that job. Or maybe there are a bunch of people that can do that job. Then the studios get to say, okay, if you want this job, we are willing to give it to the lowest bidder, the person who's going to charge us the least. Now, a lot of those hopefuls were like, yeah, I want my foot in the door. I want to be able to prove myself. So you get a bunch of people who are qualified for a job coming in underbidding each other. Now, you may say to yourself, well, we should all, get together and agree upon a minimum, or agree that we all charge the same. Well, why would somebody agree to that? If you're all going to agree to charge the same, then it doesn't matter who gets picked. You don't have an opportunity to prove yourself because the guy next to you, they could have a better resume, or they could have the exact same skill as you, and then it doesn't matter to the studio which one they do pick, and your odds of getting picked diminish. So you would be incentivized to, maybe if it's your first time, charging a little less, or maybe if rent's due and you can pay it, you're just going to have to do without a few things, but you won't starve to death or be homeless. You would be incentivized to charge less than maybe your competitor can't afford to charge. This is just facts of life. This is just economics. If you make it so that job is the same amount across the board, then they're always going to go for the person with the most experience. There have to be other ways for you to be able to prove yourself. The person with the most experience may come at a premium. The studio may be willing to pay that premium because they know that person's going to deliver a product. They're proven to be able to deliver a superior product that the audience is going to go to for. then in that case, that person's always going to get the job. But it may be that they can't afford that premium and someone for less money is worth them taking a risk. So there's all these different factors. So when the guilds got together and started making demands of the studio saying, you have to fill the writers' rooms with this many people, you have to pay this amount above what was being paid before, but there's just so many people who all want employment. At the same time, these people who are being essentially told, yeah, you're going to get paid more, are not incentivized to bring their best work. Or maybe because, again, all these people are guaranteed a certain amount of money, you get this influx of people who are maybe aren't as talented, and therefore the quality of the movies, the products, goes down, and the audience who is, they're not getting a very good movie or TV show. A lot of it's coming with a lecture, some form of activism, and that activism isn't actually to the benefit of the people who are supposedly being represented. A lot of those people aren't being represented. They're just being used as props by people who want to say they're a good person, buy our product. Or at the moment, our product is crap, but if you don't watch it, you're a terrible person and you're against our activism. Nobody wins in that situation. And it diminishes the value of people who do work hard, who might be represented in some way. The best way to be represented is through the value you bring, through your work or through your attitude or through your philosophy, something that people can relate to and attach themselves to. And, Hollywood is just opting in the other direction of just warring with their audience. And the more the audience tries to explain to them, like, hey, stop this. This isn't what we're interested in. We are good people. We just want better movies. The more that Hollywood doubles down, that's killing Hollywood and that's killing entertainment. And these people that are doing this are the ones, they're not just the studio heads at the top. They're the people in the industry who have been guaranteed a certain amount of money. So they're warring with the audience. They're demanding more money. Meanwhile, the ticket sales are going down. The economy is inflating. Money isn't worth what it used to be. The price of everything is going up, not just entertainment. So, you've got a industry full of people who are not willing to accommodate their customer, the audience. When you war with them, they're going to walk away. And so the amount of income that the movies and shows are making is far less, while the people making it are demanding more. So the studios have no choice but to find ways to cut costs. Mainly that comes in the form of just eliminating shows and movies. And, there's that line in The Matrix, there are levels of survival that we are willing to accept. That is Hollywood. There are levels of survival that they're willing to accept. Hollywood is never going to have the singular, I don't want to say monopoly, but for lack of a better word, I will, monopoly on entertainment that they used to. Now it's globalized. Now they can send jobs overseas to people who are just as talented, willing to work for much less, because where they live, less money goes further. Now there are, scruples about the working conditions and all that sort of thing, especially when it comes to animators in Japan. Yes, they probably overwork people, but again, they're able to do that because there's a glut of people who want to be animators. If suddenly there were far less people who wanted to be animators, a lot of the people went like, it's not that important to me, I'm going to go do something else. And just the most passionate, the best animators were left there. They would be able to negotiate for themselves better working conditions, better pay. And if it was, came down, if the studios who you can say, oh, the studios are greedy, or argue it's just incentives, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the same thing. You have to be able to incentivize them. If they're greedy, then you have to be able to show them that you're worth it, that they need to take care of you if they want to continue to make the money that they're greedy for. That's just the way it is. But of course, a lot of these kind of mid-level jobs, these superfluous jobs, the lack of quality is now being replaced by AI. And you may go like, there it is. AI is taking our jobs. AI is killing Hollywood. No. AI, this is very important to understand. AI, the people who developed it, saw a need from the studios and moved in to fill it because they saw that there was money in it. Doesn't matter if you think greed or whatever, these people create this stuff. They need to be able to monetize it, or else they can't continue to create it. And one of the things I've heard is like, oh, the AI people, they bypassed the artists and went straight to the studios and they're taking our jobs. I heard that. I was infuriated to hear that, okay? AI went to the artists first. I remember when it happened. It was Clip Studio. They integrated AI tools into their product, which is competing with Photoshop. They offered it to you, and artists threw a freaking fit and demanded an apology and demanded to be taken off the service. These people, again, people are businesses, people are economies. They were offered a tool that they could utilize to up their value as a creator, to make their workflow easier, to be more creative, and they slapped it away and said, no, how dare you? And so those AI creators went above the artists, the people who were paying for this stuff, and said, hey, we can offer this to you. And they went like, yeah, great, because there's a lot of artists that are delivering a better quality. There are a lot of people who are a pain in the butt and make demands of us even when times are tough. And we want to make money. So what's going to happen? Well, obviously AI is going to become a part of the workflow. It is here to stay. I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. Learn it if you want to continue in this industry. If you just want to be an artist for art's sake, I think that there's a place for that as well. But it is not in the entertainment business. You'll do fine in galleries. This is the age of being able to connect directly with your fans. I'm a big fan of hand-painted art. There's a painting right there. All of this is, Dave McKean uses Photoshop. Paintings there. I know artists. I like to draw and sketch myself. So, but as far as the entertainment industry goes, we have stories to deliver. And we are seeing that the value of those stories with the audience isn't as much as it used to be. They're not showing up at the movie theaters as much as they used to. They're used to getting stuff for free on YouTube or online. They're used to, Tubi, where they can watch it and just get through some ads. It just isn't making as much money anymore, and therefore the cost of producing it has to come down. For Hollywood, again, there's just not going to be as many jobs. That's just a fact of life. You can try and set wage amounts. You can try and guarantee that a certain amount of people have to be employed on a production. All you're going to do is disincentivize them to create these productions to begin with, and there won't be jobs for anybody. And until Hollywood can kind of square that away, they're going to continue to have the problems that they have. the main thing that they're doing is, they're shutting down these productions, and it's making a lot of people go like, oh crap, I can't make a living doing this anymore. I'm gonna have to seek life elsewhere. It is my hope that it is the people that are least passionate about this that will do that. Hollywood is no longer the dream. Chris Gore said that on his Film Threat live stream, and I agree with it. If you want to be a storyteller, if you want to make movies or animation, that sort of thing, my advice is to go independent. But again, you are going to have to embrace these tools. And it doesn't have to just be AI. I'm using Stable Diffusion and Midjourney and Viggle, but I'm also using Unreal Engine, Blender. What's the other one I'm blocking on at the moment? But virtual production stuff, procedural 3D animation. These things are, again, you can do these, you can learn these things, and you can produce them cheaply. But with a minimal staff, you can create something. I'm very impressed by the people who made the amazing Digital Circus. They are getting tens of millions of views within a couple of days of releasing an episode. My advice would be, if you're successful that way, don't sign with a major studio. Don't sign with Disney. These things are, they're not going to be profitable for you for a long time. So go independent and just keep those costs down, but don't slap away those tools, because those are what are gonna allow you to be competitive, to keep producing quality, whether it be animation or films, on a budget, and allow you to be competitive with the major studios, especially now where the major studios are going to have to downsize. They're going to have to learn some of these things as well. So that is my message to creators at the moment. Hollywood, essentially, it was killed by not the greed of the top studio execs, although there are some really stupid studio execs who are greedy and are making all the wrong decisions, but they are backed by the entire industry. They are backed by people who are being greedy themselves, greedy and thinking that there's something so special about them that they can be able to command money above the value that they produce. And therefore, they're killing their own chances. They're killing their own industry. It's just, again, it's economic fact of life. You cannot artificially control markets without collapsing them. You have to free them up. That is just basic economics, no matter what some Marxist guild member wants you to think. And most of the time, those people who are telling you don't use these tools, it's the greed of the corporations and all that sort of thing. It's like, there's greed everywhere. It's just part of the human condition. I think the people that are smarter about it will seek, and they want to make money, will seek out the most talented people and find a way to make them comfortable so that they produce a better product that people are actually willing to pay for. But until people are actually willing to pay for that, you're going to have to roll with it, be flexible. There's going to have to be cuts. People are going to have to, if they're really passionate about this, they're going to have to figure out how to do it for less until they hit something that people are really crazy about, and then they can start charging a premium for their product or the merchandise or whatever else it is. Sorry, it's just a fact of life. On to the other part, though. I want to address the idea of fandom or toxic fandom. This is something that I've been seeing a lot of different points of view on. I've had discussions with people. Again, I've seen, most notably, I've been listening to Comics Matter with your boy, Zach. He's been talking about how he wants more of a, and forgive me if I'm kind of getting this wrong, but he seems irritated at the fact that the people aren't more stoic about their reactions to some of the stuff, the content coming out. He mentioned there are 50-year-old men getting upset about the Strawberry Shortcake reboot or something like that. And I kind of understand that. It's like, again, it's just there's a market for on YouTube for people criticizing what is being produced by the industry at the moment. This people who kind of have some schadenfreude when something fails. And, I'm kind of two minds there. On one hand, yeah, a lot of the stuff that is being produced that is bad is being produced by people who are objectively awful. They're awful towards their fandom to the point of being, what's the word? Slanderous, abusive in their treatment of beloved properties. And yeah, so of course, there's a lot of people who are older who are seeing this and they're pointing it out. And you may think, well, why would a 50-year-old guy care about something like Strawberry Shortcake? It's not, he's not the audience. It's made for girls, that are 5 years old. Well, because we see that there is a certain group of people who believe that a artistic endeavor is a platform to be hijacked to deliver essentially programming. And if that programming is aimed at children who are not old enough to understand or reason what they're being told or question it, there is a potential there to modify their thinking for the rest of their lives. And we know, we see, we witness that a lot of these people have openly stated that their intentions are to get into the heads of young people so that they can push their agenda. And, so older adults are going to see that, and they're going to want to criticize it, and they're going to want these people to fail at what they're trying to attempt, because someone who is not interested in delivering quality entertainment for family in favor of believing that it has no value other than how it can serve their beliefs, their agenda. Those people deserve to fail. And it really comes down to, who's going to point that out? There is a little bit of, I've heard people use the word blood sport in it. And I think definitely there are people who, whether it be for the showmanship of it, to get more clicks because they, had a fit over something. That's sometimes that's a little weird to see. You feel like, that's not really, how I would want to address it. You want to have a certain amount of stoicism. You want to be an adult about it. You want to address the issue with some class. You don't want to be freaking out. But it needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. And a lot of these people, like I said, they deserve to fail. They deserve to fail so much that they go away, because their agenda is always going to be the same. It's never going to be for the sake of telling a good story or the sake of art or entertainment. It's always going to be simply, these are my beliefs. This is how I want everybody to think. If my points don't land with you, I can get to your children, and I can convince them before they're old enough to reason. But here's another thing I want to say, though, about kids' entertainment. Kids' entertainment is made for adults as well. If you've ever sat and watched something with your children that is really well done, you want to be entertained as well. You don't want to be sitting in the movie theater in front of the TV with your kids watching something that doesn't entertain you as well. It might not be the kind of entertainment you seek as an adult on your own. But if you're going to be with your kids, there's more to it than just your child being entertained for a couple of hours. And there's more to it than you just being entertained for a couple of hours. There's a connection you make through that entertainment. It becomes part of your family's vocabulary. The jokes that land or the characters that have some meaning to the kids, you get a sense of who your child is by what they relate to. And through understanding those characters, you're able to show them that you understand where they're coming from and where these characters are coming from. And as a parent, sitting your kid down in front of something like, Indiana Jones or Star Trek or something that when you were growing up had some meaning to you, they're able to kind of, not everything's going to be as exciting to them as it was to you when you were a kid, but they can get a better sense of who you are through what you relate to, what you value. So this idea that just, like a 50-year-old man getting upset about how a 5-year-old girl's character is being treated, yeah, because they see the value of it in connecting with their own kids or maybe their grandkids. They don't want their kids being treated like vessels to just have stuff poured into their head, so they then have this little out of control brat that attacks them all the time. So yeah, these things do matter. Stories matter. And just like in the comic book industry with the, recently the death of Ed Piskor, which was seemingly due to the fact that he was harangued and pushed to the edge by people who already saw he was in a vulnerable state and on the verge of killing himself and giving him that extra nudge. So he did. That's an industry that has become horrific in the fact that it's being run by people who have no problem doing that, no problem being that cruel, no problem being ready to use indirect means to kill people. Well, guess what? Hollywood has been killing people for a long time. We know that Hollywood is involved in human trafficking and drug trafficking and all sorts of horrible, just reprehensible things, all the while trying to act like they're moralizing to us, all the while trying to break down the values of our stories so that they are no longer accountable for anything that they do. I'm not saying that's all of Hollywood. As a matter of fact, that's definitely not all of Hollywood. I know a lot of people who work in Hollywood. I know a lot of people to this day who love what they do. They love stories, they love movies, and they want all of that to be good as well. But ultimately, it comes down to this. Hollywood did this to itself. I would love to be able to create enough independent content that makes enough money where I can hire some of these people that are in Hollywood who love film and do good work. I do want to see them successful, but what it really comes down to is this. Hollywood is dead. The people within Hollywood, a lot of them either directly killed it through incompetence or maliciousness. Other people stood by and let it happen because they thought they had to agree with it. And other people were helpless to prevent it. But the murderer is in the room. What happens next? I have a few predictions. AI is going to be a big part of it, both independently and in the studios. Again, that's just a fact of life. Am I worried about AI? Yes, but for different reasons than what other people will tell you. I do believe that AI can be used to make art. Whether the images it directly produces are art or not doesn't matter to me. I don't care. What I do care about is that I can take elements of what AI produces and mix it with what I'm passionate about doing and tell my stories that I believe are not AI stories. They're Christopher stories that I'm able to tell cheaper, faster, and without any worry about getting studio notes or losing the rights to what I'm doing. I work with who I want to. I employ who I want to. And by the way, I will say this. Because of AI, I was able to get Escape from Planet Omega 12 off the ground, which created paid work for people that otherwise, without AI, I would not have been able to do that, and there would be no work for them. So AI is going to create new jobs. There's going to be a need for people who know how to use it, know how to code it, because the coding is, you already see that training AI off of other AI is producing problems. Well, it's always going to take human beings to solve those problems. I just don't see there ever not being a need for talented people, because ultimately the stories we tell are us connecting with each other. We're not connecting with a computer. A computer has no desire to connect with us. It has no incentive or motivation or will to tell a story, but it can do the heavy lifting for us. What I am worried about with AI is actually that there are people who are going like, hey, AI is going to become dangerous out, and I'm talking about outside the art world. Because the great thing about making AI art, or making, telling stories or creating images with AI, is if you screw up or the AI does something stupid, you just try again, or you take the elements and you fix them up, you combine them, you work your magic on them. Nobody gets hurt. But AI can be used in other ways. We see military applications, we see viruses, we see, all sorts of things that could go wrong. What I'm really worried about is that other people see that too, and they go, we have to start regulating it. We have to start licensing it. We're creating licenses for it. And that is very scary to me, because once you start regulating something, you get lobbyists coming in. And we're already seeing this. The people pushing for ethical AI, which is tricky, because what they see as ethical is not really ethics. It's a way of clamping down on people's use of AI. But because they're the ones lobbying, they're the ones with the money to afford the lawyers to get around whatever rules and regulations or pay for whatever licenses are required, they'll be able to use it, and you won't. They'll be able to use it against you, to spy on you. We already see this in Communist China. Communist China is using AI to monitor their citizens and more efficiently suppress them or oppress them, or both. And, if you regulate AI so that corporations and government can work together and use it, and you can't, well, that's creating a market weighted to their side, a market where they turn you into a forever consumer, never a market competitor. And that is the road to both market capture by corporations and authoritarianism. That terrifies me. The answer is the open source. Now, I see a lot of arguments against the open source. Like someone's going to open source some AI that's going to create some doomsday virus or weapon or something like that. Well, that genie's already out of the bottle, and regulations aren't going to stop someone from doing that. What we need is everybody to be learning AI and understanding AI better, because as Elon Musk said, and I don't always agree with Elon Musk, but he's right here, the best defense against bad AI is good AI. Where does good AI come from? It comes from the open source. It comes from the average citizen being able to use it. Beware of this anti-AI advocacy. It is on the surface being spearheaded by people who are just, concerned artists and that sort of thing, but it is being funded and propagated by corporations who stand to benefit the most from this. Because if there are people saying that using, and I believe AI should be able to train off of anything, and I include my own work in there, by the way, because that's what we do. When you enter the public square, people observe your work and they learn from it, just like they learn from observing nature and everything around them. And through mixing and matching things in our own imaginations, it becomes transformative. And that's AI is doing that heavy lifting, but it's not doing anything different than human beings have been doing with the creative process the entire time. If we start clamping down with these overly strict copyright laws, it is going to be a disaster, because it won't just end with AI. Those laws will have to apply to human beings as well. And therefore, you're going to see people being sued left and right every time they do create something creative, because someone's going to be claiming, oh, you copied my style, or you, like, like you copied, like I painted an egg and you painted an egg after that. And, therefore you copied my egg. It's just going to get out of control. It's going to disincentivize creativity, and a lot of our economy is based on creativity. It's going to cause a greater economic collapse. Meanwhile, other countries are not going to have the same scruples, and they are going to steamroll us economically and with copyright. So I want you to think very long and hard about how any anti-AI sentiments you have might end up backfiring in the same way that all the workers' rights guild sentiments backfired on Hollywood and collapsed their economy. That's what I'm concerned about the most with AI, is how corporations and government and media are going to try and monopolize it and stagnate creativity at large, disincentivize innovation, and collapse our economy even more. So absolutely, I am concerned on that level. Am I concerned about AI coming alive, becoming sentient, and destroying us all? Well, not in art, but I do understand that AI is very powerful, and it's kind of like rolling a boulder down a hill. You have to be sure, if you're going to roll a boulder down a hill, that you have calculated every variable of its trajectory so that it doesn't end up crashing into someone's house or car, or rolling over a bunch of people or something like that. Yes, we do have to be very careful with AI. And there's going to be some horrible things that happen as a result of it. There's also going to be some great things that happen as a result of it. Either way, it's out of the bag. And the only way we can mitigate disasters is to learn it, understand it better, and be individually responsible about it. But if we start regulating it, start making new copyright laws to stop people from training it or using it, that sort of thing, it could be a disaster. So we have to be smart about this. And unfortunately, again, the thing I worry about the most is not AI. It's the people using it, because there's, again, a lot of hyperbole and over emotional people and hysteria and yes, greed, corporate greed, and government stupidity, all of that stuff. Those things have always been things I've worried about. AI is just, potentially throwing gasoline on the fire. But again, running from it or trying to stop it is absolutely the wrong response. So anyway, I think that's all my thoughts on that. I'm sure I'll finish this video and have more things to say that I'm kicking myself for not. But that's ultimately it. If you have hung in there this entire time, thank you. Are nearing 45 minutes. So I will be back with more news soon for my Subscribe Star and Substack people. There is a new update on my animated movie/show, Escape from Planet Omega 12. And I'll probably do another video soon. I know there's other things I want to talk about, but please like, subscribe, share. I'm over 1,000 subscribers now. Thank you so much for that. I want to give a shout out to Represent This, another great YouTube channel I'm enjoying at the moment. If you love movies, go subscribe to his channel. He helped me get over the threshold, as well as A Drink with Crazy and his YouTube channel with the Iron Age Nights. Thanks so much, guys. Of course, Pop Culture Minefield, who I live stream with sometimes. Check them out. Follow me on Instagram, Christopher Moonlight. See Moonlight Films on X. Yeah, that's everything. Have a happy Friday, everyone, and good luck with your filmmaking or whatever it is you do to create and tell stories. Take care, everyone.